Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. Today we're going to talk about something I know a lot of you are interested in,
Mm-hmm.
turning unexpected changes into opportunities.
Absolutely.
And we're really lucky to be diving into a fantastic source for this
Yeah.
pasted text. When plans fall apart, how to bounce back stronger.
Oh, that's a good one.
I know, right? So it seems to be jam-packed with stories and advice all about how to not just survive those curveballs life throws at us,
Right.
but actually use them to come back even stronger.
I love that.
So you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, fantastic. So, it's so easy to get caught up in the disappointment when our plans go sideways.
Ugh, tell me about it.
Right. Like you work so hard towards a goal and then bam, something totally unexpected happens.
Totally.
But this pasted text source, it takes a totally different approach.
Uh-huh.
It's all about reframing these disruptions as potential opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's such a powerful idea. It's like, yeah, unexpected changes are definitely inevitable. Like, that's just part of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about how we choose to view them and what we do with them.
I love that reframing concept.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that? Like it sounds great in theory,
Right.
but when you're in the thick of it, when your carefully crafted plans are just like crumbling around you, how do you shift your perspective?
Well, I think pasted text actually gives a really helpful framework for that.
Okay, I'm all ears.
It emphasizes that, resilience isn't about just avoiding negative emotions altogether.
Right.
It's not about pretending everything's okay when it's not. It's more about acknowledging those feelings like the disappointment,
Yeah.
the frustration, maybe even the fear. Like, let yourself feel those things.
Feel them, but don't let them
Exactly.
control you.
Yeah, don't let them paralyze you
Yeah.
because that's where the bounce back stronger part comes in.
I love that. Okay, so it's like, okay, I'm feeling all these things, but I'm not going to let them drown me.
Exactly.
I'm going to find a way to
Ride the wave.
ride the wave, yes. Okay, so the source, it's packed with stories of people who've done just that.
It is.
And I know we talked about this one before we started recording, but I think it's such a good example.
Oh, absolutely. This one is so powerful.
So for our listeners, can you tell us that story?
Yes. So there's this story about, someone who had spent years building a career in a very specific field.
Like they were totally on track, doing all the right things.
Oh, yeah. Like they'd gone through all the education, the internships, the whole 9 yards.
Mhm.
They were ready to climb that ladder. And then suddenly that entire industry just collapses.
Oh, wow.
Unexpectedly, right? Talk about plans falling apart.
Oh, I could almost feel that sinking feeling in my stomach just thinking about it.
I know, right?
So what did they do? Like, did they just give up on everything?
No, not at all. That's what's so inspiring about this story.
Okay.
Instead of dwelling on the loss and the what ifs, they took stock of their skills and realized, hey, you know what? A lot of these skills are actually applicable elsewhere.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they had developed really strong analytical abilities, project management experience, incredible communication skills.
Right.
These were all valuable assets regardless of the specific industry.
That's so true. Okay, so it's like they took a step back to see like the core building blocks of their expertise
Yeah.
and then figured out how to apply them in a different way.
Exactly. It's like they had all these tools in their toolbox.
Yeah.
They just had to figure out how to use them to build something new.
I love that analogy. So did they just kind of stumble into a new career or was there more of a method to it?
Well, pasted text actually suggests a few really practical steps.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Give us the good stuff.
Okay, so first, it emphasizes getting really honest with yourself, like what do you actually enjoy doing?
Mm-hmm.
And what are you naturally good at? Like what are your strengths?
Right. Identify those strengths.
Yes, and then it encourages you to look for ways those strengths can be valuable in different contexts.
So it's not just about transferable skills,
Yeah.
but also about mindset.
You got it. This person in the story, they really embraced the challenge,
Yeah.
They were willing to learn new things, to step outside of their comfort zone,
Mhm.
and ultimately they found a path that they found even more fulfilling.
Wow, that's a brilliant example of turning what seemed like a disaster
Right.
into not just a springboard,
Mm-hmm.
but a launch pad.
Absolutely. Like blasting off in a whole new direction.
Exactly. And I think it's so inspiring for our listeners because, what might seem like a closed door
Yeah.
could actually be redirecting you to something even better suited to your talents.
It's all about perspective.
It is. But for our listeners, how can they apply this kind of thinking in their own lives? Like, what's the first step?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing that setbacks are inevitable. Life is going to throw us curveballs,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't define us.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating that mindset of flexibility,
Right.
a willingness to learn and adapt and to view those moments
Well,
as opportunities to reevaluate your goals, maybe explore some new possibilities.
and build those resilience muscles.
Exactly. The more we practice this, the stronger we become.
So it's not just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward.
Yes. Love that.
Not just returning to the status quo,
Hmm.
but using that experience to propel yourself forward.
To a new and maybe even more exciting direction.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I love this, and I know our listeners are going to find this so helpful.
I hope so.
But before we wrap up, I know you have a thought-provoking question for our listeners to ponder.
I do. I think it would be really interesting for everyone to think back to a time when their own plans were disrupted.
Like a big one or even a small one?
Yeah, any kind of disruption.
Okay.
How did you initially react in that moment?
Hmm.
And looking back, could you have approached it differently?
Hmm.
Maybe even seen a hidden opportunity within that disruption.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, just some food for thought.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for this deep dive. This has been so insightful, and I know our listeners are going to be taking away a lot from this.
Thanks for having me. I always love these conversations.
Me too. And listeners, remember to check out the show notes for a link to pasted text. When plans fall apart, how to bounce back stronger. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.